Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
I'm Chad, and this week we are going to the movies with popcorn.
Before the horror of Halloween, before the fear of Friday the 13th, before the evil of A Nightmare on Elm Street, before them all, there was... Now, 15 years later, he's back. Oh, yes.
There's something happening here that I've been looking for all of my life. There's smoke. Someone takes her hand. She's running. The same man comes towards her.
I'm in a dream.
I remember the whole thing. Stop!
Are you ready? Popcorn. Buy a bag. Go home in a box.
I don't know. I think I'll have mine with some nachos and cheese instead.
Now, the name of the movie's popcorn. You're going to eat popcorn, and you're going to like it.
Oh, is that the movie that we did?
Yes, that's the movie we did with popcorn.
Was it nachos with cheese?
No, they haven't done that one yet.
So I completely forgot everything about this movie. There's something about this movie. I don't know. I have no comment, but what I will say is I, for some reason, thought this was foreign because Demons and some other movies that are like this movie are all foreign.
The other one we covered, The Last Matinee or something like that, we covered a while back. The foreign
Los
one.
Come Ojos.
Yes, the eyeball killer.
Eyeball eater.
Eyeball eater, sorry. He had the pickle jar full of eyeballs.
It was amazing. Come Ojos was the fucking villain that I always needed.
Yeah, does seem to be a lot of like foreign films that deal with horror movie things happening in movie theaters.
So I thought it was something to that degree. I got my wires crossed, and when I saw a woman washing...
You're like, hey!
Yeah, when I saw a woman washing some dishes, I was like, oh, is this a low-rent Dee Wallace? Mind you, all I saw was literally the back of her head and, like, her dress. Okay? Before she speaks and turns around when she gives like a side profile. And then she does that and it's like, oh shit, it is Dee Wallace. And then Chad's like, yeah, it's Dee Wallace. I'm like, what? What the fuck is Dee Wallace doing in this foreign movie? And then it's like, oh, there's Jill Sholin from The Stepfather. Great, okay, that's not weird at all. But the music to this film is so off, like...
From the rest of the movie?
Yeah, it's just so disconnected. This is a movie I would love to see as a remake.
Yeah, this would be a prime one to remake.
The makeup is amazing, and the story... what's crazy about it is that there's so many behind the scenes, like, weird things, like the whole thing about, like, Bob Clark coming in and, like, helping with multiple things, and... It's just like, how did Dee Wallace and G. Sholin even get involved in this damn movie? But it had to have been, I'm not going to say because of Bob Clark, but It had to have been something, because it's just, this movie is so odd. Like, the film itself and, like, the music, and then it's really set in Jamaica, but it's not supposed to be set in Jamaica, right?
Yeah, they filmed the whole thing in Jamaica. That's why there just happens to be, in this, what is supposed to be a California town, a reggae band just comes to play at the opening of the theater.
Yeah, and then, like...
They even mentioned in there that, like, they had all the extras, most of the extras are wearing big Halloween heads and masks because they wanted to hide the fact that 90% of the extras were obviously going to be Jamaicans. You see the theater, there's like 6 or 7 like white guys and girls sitting around without masks, or one guy with a double head, and then everyone else has got masks on. But when you watch, you realize, oh, they didn't want this theater to be like 90%
yeah, Jamaican or
yeah, and then but since it was supposed to be set in California, they were like, "Are they filming this? Where are they filming this?" You know, they didn't want it to look like that. And
yeah,
it questions.
It was the mixture was because it wasn't enough. You know, it wasn't a good mix of people. It was just too much on one way, and then, but the Jamaican music, and I get it, but how many horror films come up to mind that's like, oh yeah, there's Jamaican music the whole time,
there's reggae
or just
music
like
the whole thing.
Reggae. I'm sorry, I keep saying Jamaican music. Reggae music. Sorry, reggae music the whole time. I mean, if it was set like, I'm literally trying to think like, I Know What You Did Last Summer too. They went somewhere like.
They went somewhere to Jamaica, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Jamaica, but they went somewhere like islandy, and there's no reggae music in that.
Well, not to be fair, they had a budget for that movie.
Oh my god! Exactly. So they should have like the best reggae music known to man. But so that completely, it like makes the movie just
that kind of throws it off
odd.
a little bit. Yeah,
it throws it off so much.
But to be fair, it wasn't originally Jill Schoelen. It was another actress, Amy O'Neill from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in that was supposed to be in this, and for some reason, even in the documentary, they're kind of evasive about why she was replaced, but she was replaced. So then Jill Schoelen took over 3 weeks in, because she even says that like they had already filmed all the close-ups, so all they did was go back and reshoot all the like establishing shots of her talking to people. Excuse me. And then they never bothered to refilm the close-ups. So when it's someone else in close-up talking to Jill Schoelen, it's the other actress reacting to their stuff.
That's great. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, film's expensive.
Now, there's some people in this besides Dee Wallace that horror fans will know. We have Derek Rydell playing the boyfriend in this, and he is, of course, Eric from The Phantom of the Mall.
Another amazing film we covered.
He was the Phantom.
Fuck, that's great.
You've also got, playing Toby, one of the film students. His name is Tom Villard, and he was in a lot of things in the 80s. You'd know him from TV shows. He was in everything from Baywatch, Chips, Taxi. He was in that cop show Hunter that ran for so many years in the 80s. He was in One Crazy Summer. He played Bobcat Goldthwait's brother. And he was also in Heartbreak Ridge. Now, unfortunately, he died just a couple years after this movie came out.
Damn.
Yeah. And you're also going to recognize the late, great Ray Walston in this, who was, of course, my favorite Martian, Mr. Hand from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was in the Star Trek series. He played the gardener at Starfleet Academy.
He's in the movie for 4 minutes.
Yeah, he's in the... I don't even know if it's 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was being generous with the time.
But he got that check and a trip to Jamaica, so I'm sure it was worth.
They were like, "You want to be in this movie? We're gonna pay you $2,000." He's like, "I don't know." Also, free ticket to Jamaica round trip. I'm there.
Yeah, I get money, trip to Jamaica, fed while I'm there. I'll be on when you need me there. So yeah, the rest of the people in this are really not people you would recognize from a lot of things, other than the professor who teaches this class. His name is Tony Roberts. He was also in a lot of TV and movies throughout the 80s, the 70s and 80s. And you were the one that made the comparison that he is the guy with the amazing G.I. Joe hair.
Oh yes, he has amazing G.I. Joe hair.
Yeah, he does look like his hair came straight off a G.I. Joe doll.
It's insane. I saw it. I was like, he matches your friend in the closet. Good old G.I. Joe with that fucking amazing hair. It's like, how is that even possible? Like, how could you have hair like that and you're not a doll?
Well,
We're taking a drink break, folks.
Sorry, I had to choke there.
Don't choke. Well, you didn't have to choke. You did choke, but yes.
So, we haven't talked about the plot of this yet.
No, we haven't. Also, you know what? That man was like, I fucking saw Cocktail, and I know what goes on. That's why he wanted to go to Jamaica. Okay? Because maybe Elizabeth Shue was still around in that damn waterfall.
Just hanging out. Hey, you never know. I'm sure that's why they all went there.
So, I don't even remember why. We end up opening up with Dee Wallace, and you see her daughter is Jill Sholin, and Jill Sholin is, she's having some crazy, very cinematic dreams, a nightmare. And you later find out this is like something that's reoccurring throughout her whole life, because it seems like her mom and her have been like running like from place to place. They've been moving constantly. But you don't find that out right off the bat. So she tells her about her dream, and then she's off to college, and now...
The typical movie thing where they open the refrigerator and there's like everything to eat in it possible. And you're like, what do you want me to make you for breakfast? I'll make you anything you want for breakfast. Just juice. Yeah, let me just take the juice and go. Yeah, so then she goes to her film class.
I'm waking up extra early. I'm like, I'm going to need eggs. I'm going to need bacon. I'm going to need a side of toast with butter. I'm going to need some coffee, orange juice, some water. Okay, bitch is thirsty. I was sleeping for 8 hours. Now I'm awake. I'm also going to need some French toast, pancakes.
Speaking of which, sleeping, they mentioned in the thing that apparently when Jill Sholin got there, she was so tired when she filmed those scenes at the beginning where she's in bed, she just went to sleep.
Oh my god.
She just laid down and went to sleep in the bed.
Wow.
So she's off and heads to her class. And we find out that her film class is trying to raise money for their student project. And they're going to rehab a local theater and open it up and do an all-night horror-thon. They're going to charge $10 a ticket to come in and watch these movies all night long. People are like, oh my God, $10 for a movie ticket? That's insane. It's like, well, you're going to be seeing movies all night, and they're going to be in these amazing formats. They're basically doing the William Castle trick, where they're going to have a giant mosquito that flies over the crowd during the movie called...
Mosquito.
Yes. They're going to shock people during The Amazing Electrical Man. And during one of the other movies I forgot the name of, they're going to release the smell-o-vision, which is going to be the stench that they're going to pump into the theater. So, yeah, they're doing all the William Castle tricks, basically, which is, I think, part of the reason this movie really appeals to horror fans is that we all kind of want to do that William Castle thing,
Yeah, we want to have that experience.
We want to run that theater where it has the crazy, gimmicks and do that, because that would be fun as hell.
Yeah, that would be a fun time. I would go to that for $10, even though they're black and white movies. And
well, one of them was in color. The last one was a Japanese movie, and it was in color. That was the smell-o-vision one.
Yeah, it was in Technicolor.
So then we get the classic, even though this came out in 91, we get the classic 80s montage of them cleaning the theater.
Oh my gosh.
Set to a reggae song, of course.
Yeah.
And they're cleaning the theater, getting everything going, polishing it, taking off all the covers from the seats and doing all this. And boom, we're almost to opening night.
Yeah, putting up an amazing clock that we both want.
Yes, the Shako-vision. What was it? Shako?
It's a Shaka clock.
Shaka clock, yeah. Has like a heart that pumps blood down into it's a
amazing.
skull, or a skeleton with like a heart, and it pumps blood from the heart into the little cup underneath it. It was great.
It looks like a fun time. Also, you forgot to mention the name of the theater is Dreamland.
Yes.
The Dreamland Theater, which was an actual theater that was going to get closed down.
No, it's just a theater in Jamaica that they just used for this.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It was getting closed down in the actual movie.
The movie. Yeah, in the movie, the theater was going to be demolished. So they only had like 2 days after their horror-thon, it's going to be demolished. So they had to hurry up and get this thing rehabbed so it could be demolished.
Yeah. Well, the people have to. They don't want to sit in nasty, dusty seats.
Yeah.
They paid $10 to see this movie.
And that's when Ray Walston comes in with. He's got the one with all the props. He has all the old new movie props. He's got the giant mosquito, the electrovision, or the electro things for the seats. He's got all that. He brought the smell-o-vision. The smell-o-vision containers is what I was trying to say there.
He bought the smell-o-vision containers, and it smelled like when the Tar Man.
Yeah. That would be bad. But, so yeah, he brought all that kind of stuff in. And that is when they're getting ready to finish up, and it's almost opening night, and they discovered this film canister. Toby just finds this film canister. It's like, hey, what's in this? We should just open this and watch it, because nothing bad ever happens when you watch a mysterious movie you find in an old theater. They pop it in, and it's very, artsy close-ups of the guy, like on stage saying these things. Like at one point they're even like, oh my God, they're going to zoom in right on his nose hairs, aren't they?
Yeah, and then there's like a decapitated head on a dining room table that's like fully like plated. The whole shebang is on there. Yeah, he's talking and it's like panning, like it's far away and like panning up close, like you said, like it's gonna look at his nose hairs. It's a lot. And
then it just kind of ends.
Possessor. No, you forgot the part in the film where he says possessor like 29 times.
Yes.
Possessor. I'm possessor. Possessor.
And then when it ends, that's when everyone's like, "What the hell was that?" And that's
Jill Sholin has fainted at this point because she gets like hypnotized because she realizes like, "Oh shit, this is the guy from my dream."
Yep, and this is a lot of things I've been seeing in my dreams are in this film. And that's when Professor Davis, he comes in with this film was made by the famous cult leader who had a film cult, which they don't really get into what that was. They just say he
watched a lot of crazy old films.
It was like MST3K, but they just with other movies that weren't funny.
They worshipped the almighty canister.
So this guy was he had his film, and then the last reel was going to be performed live on stage where he was going to murder his entire family.
No.
Live on stage.
No, okay. Was that the last reel?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was that he didn't have an ending, and what he wanted to do was murder his family entire, like, for everyone to see.
Either way, he was going to kill his family on stage at the last.
And he did.
Well, you think.
And now, spoiler alert, and now this is where we're at now with the crazy movie. So
because the theater burned down, just like in Bad Dreams and Late Night with the Devil, the cult always ends in fire. Have you noticed that?
No, that's true. But I want to say that these cult movies, I don't know, like there's a lot of cult movies. I'm here for it. I'm here for the cult movies. Don't get me wrong. So the film cult, has like the lead guy, and his name is Lanyard Gates. Lanyard Gates.
Like Lanyard, that's a terrible name.
Possessor.
Who gives their kid the name Lanyard?
So Dee Wallace, she's been getting phone calls, and after this whole event, and Jill Sholin is, has come home, and now Dee Wallace answers the phone, and it's the freaking Lanyard Gates, and
the ninth circle of hell is reserved for traitors.
Yeah, he's like, come meet me at Dreamland and bring me your fancy gun with you. Or some shit like that. And then this is the part of the movie that I love. Dee Wallace is like, you know what? Okay, crazy voice on the phone told me to go meet him at some random place, the theater, okay, where I know, wink, something happened there that I may or may not have been involved with. And it's in the middle of the night. I'm by myself. He knows I have a gun, so this is a trap. Let me get in my car and go right now. That's the best idea. That I'm going to go. Everything's going to be fine. Everything is going to be okay. Everything was not fine for Dee Wallace. Okay, This woman cannot catch a fucking break. If it's not some crazy cult leader trying to kill her, it's a fucking dog. I mean, the woman.
Aliens coming out of the woodwork in her closet.
She just.
Werewolves.
Yeah, she got put upon real bad, you know, but she was a fucking survivor, yo.
So here's this part that I love. She shows up at the movie for the Dreamland Theater, and there's like the sign out front with the advertising the all night horror-thon. When she gets there, all the letters start throwing themselves off of the marquee at her.
Yeah.
They fall all around, and then it just
and then
flashes
digital
up,
letters? Like, how did that...
and just pop up and goes, Possessor. Now, no one in the movie has telekinetic powers, ghost powers, or anything like that.
Nope.
Everyone's, in the end, it's revealed to be a pretty straight-up slasher. But somehow there was magic involved in this part. They never explained that. I feel like that was a scene that was left in from some other version of the script, and they forgot to remove it.
You know what? That never occurred to me. I just accepted that shit.
And I think they mentioned in one of the things on the disc that the reason it was called popcorn was there was an element of the movie that had to do with popcorn, and that got cut.
I would need to know what was this element in the movie that they were like, you know what, we should name the movie after that because that was a strong scene. And then, we cut it.
Yeah,
but we're not changing the name.
We're not changing the name because they said the movie, they were big on like, single word kind of titles in the 90s, like Popcorn, Scream.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. You want to have a little punchy title.
My favorite part of the film, because we're going to go straight to that part.
Okay.
Is when Dee Wallace, of course, obviously she gets captured. And we don't really know what happens to her. But what we do know is that she definitely didn't go home. But come morning time, Dill Sholin wakes up and the ghost made her breakfast and left her a note. Okay, and let me describe the breakfast for you. It's like an over easy egg, a sausage. There was coffee. There was coffee in the coffee pot. Okay.
Yeah, like steam coming off of it.
The ghost, because at this, you don't know at this point what's really going on.
You assume it's some kind of ghost or supernatural thing
because we just saw letters fly off.
Yep.
So you're gonna put two to two together. It's a ghost, entity, evil, demonic spirit, presence, whatever you want to call it. But he must. You know what? You know what I think happened? Somewhere between 1985 and 1991, there was like a courtesy class for like killers, because apparently Jason Voorhees went to this class because he making bitches fucking tea. This person's making coffee and breakfast. Okay, yeah. So it's like, you know what? You're gonna kill these people. They should at least have a nice cup of warm tea or a nice breakfast before they get murdered. It's always nice to have a meal, And that was the courtesy. It was like Killer Breakfast 101. I don't know what you want to fucking call the class. But this is what I feel like happened. So that's my favorite part of the film.
Yeah. And then we jump into it's opening night. The movies are going to play. And that's when things start to get real creepy around the theater. Because as Jill Sholin is taking the tickets, and everyone's wearing the old-timey bellhop, usher uniforms, ticket takers, except, the women are all wearing like the dress version of it instead of the actual version they would be wearing.
Yeah, we have the one girl, Tina, she's wearing this outfit, and then another one's a nurse, and you have everyone playing their roles, and then you get into the movie, and everyone's watching the movies, and the crowd's having an amazing time. And then, of course, behind the scenes, there's a lot of fuckery going on. And, we
see the first kill is the professor.
Yes, he gets
Professor Exposition. He gets killed by the giant mosquito.
Ooh, right through the chest.
Our killer hijacks it with his own remote control. And
I don't know how he did that, but he did.
He kills him, and then we discover that not only at this point are we like, wow, he's got supernatural powers, can make those letters come down. Now we find out that he is an expert mask maker and can make a mask that looks just like the professor's face and has little like gadgets inside of it that'll make like the eyebrows raise up and everything on it so that it'll look realistic.
I thought it was magic. So I'm still thinking, like, I'm Harry Potter lover. I'm still thinking there's fucking magic involved because I'm like, how is this plain piece of latex that he just pulled out the machine? How is it able to have any kind of movement? That shit is magic.
Yeah. So then, and this is one of my favorite like scenes of it is when the girl in the class that we find out suddenly the professor has been having an affair with
Tina
comes and wants to kiss him. He's just like, okay, in this, you know, slightly odd voice that she's just like, oh, that's totally the professor's voice. She kisses him, and that's when the mask, apparently her kiss was so hot that it just melted all the latex or silicone of the mask, and she pulls away with like a giant glob of like the silicone all over her lips. Like
it was a society moment because they were stuck together
like
for a bit.
Pulling apart and all this, and then she gets murdered. And then the murders are in full swing.
Yeah.
People are dropping like flies during that.
The guy in the wheelchair, he gets it.
Oh, yeah, he gets electrocuted. Like, everybody is... Which, by the way, the guy in the wheelchair might be the most annoying character in a wheelchair since the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And I feel like those are the only two people in a wheelchair in a horror movie. So you just took out both wheelchair people. But...
Well, no, there was the guy in the Bigfoot movie we covered.
Oh, yes. Which I'm like, that. Why? I mean, I guess the killer is not like discriminating. He's just killing everybody.
Yeah.
And he's becoming everybody because he got everybody's face. After he kills them, he just rips their face off. He's kind of like a Leatherface in a sense.
He's got masks already pre-made for everybody there except the guy in the wheelchair. He even becomes some of the women characters too. But
he does, and he says some wild shit before he puts the woman's face on. The makeup in the film is amazing. Yeah. It's not like that other movie we did where it looked like Mickey Mouse. The Prey, but the Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
face.
yeah. So we'll get to that one. We haven't aired that one yet.
Yeah, but it's so terrible. But yeah, the makeup is just so good in this movie because this mask for like the people's face, and when he puts it over his face, you're like, it's amazing.
Well, it's a great trick because they show him. Eventually, you see the killer. We won't say who he is, but you see the killer. He's got the mask out. He's got his normal face, and then he leans down, kind of leans into the mask, puts it on, and then they cut to what is obviously the other person that he's putting the mask on, and they have like little flaps on the side that they're holding, and they've dubbed his voice in. But the way they do it is so seamless. It looks like he just put the mask on and suddenly became the other person. It's a great like camera trick and all this. And I feel like now they wouldn't even bother with that. They'd be like, let's just CGI the other guy's face on and go on with their lives. But it's a very cool trick that they do.
It is very cool. I love it a lot. So can we, you said you don't want to say who the killer is, but can we give some deets about the killer?
Yes.
So it was someone that was affected by the whole incident that happened earlier 15 years before.
He was burned.
Okay, you just jumped. Yes, he was badly burned.
Yes.
You just went straight to the point.
Burned badly. Yes. So he's coming back for revenge on Jill Scholl. And I say he because, there was very few female killers in the movies back then. He's coming back for revenge on Jill Scholl because, in case you haven't figured it out by now, she was there and survived. And he's also just going to take out the others because why not?
Because they were there. They were there, and he wanted to.
Slasher's got a slash.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah, like we said, this would be a prime movie to remake.
Hell yeah!
I feel like you could take essentially the same script and just get a little bit better, continuity with it and some music. Set it in a different. You could even set this in any place. This could be happening in a small Midwest college, anything that you could redo with it. And like I said, this would be a great one to redo. This is the one we should remake.
I would like to see the film, obviously different music. Keep the the gimmicks of the movie, but update the movies. Don't make them maybe movies that came out in like the 80s, or 90s, but have like gimmicks to them, and probably trying to like play on that, because I do like that. Keep the the mad film, because always in theater there's always like some bad look stuff that happened.
Yeah.
That there's like a reputation and a history or whatever, and you have to deal with it. I like that. That's just classic. Keep that element, and keep the guy or girl, whoever, keep the person that was affected, that's going after the revenge, but keep them the same scenario, like with them, like they're badly burned, and they're masquerading this, this whole time under everyone's noses, and do practical effects. Don't do any CGI, and just show the artistry of the practical effects.
Yeah. Because
it looks amazing. And you know what? It's 2024. You can't say now like, oh, that CGI was terrible. Any fucking CGI is going to be way better than any CGI from the, late 90s. Even freaking Doctor Who, like, 2011 episode. CGI of today is going to be way better than that, because that CGI for the Doctor Who's were just...
Yeah, they weren't always great.
Really bad. The modern ones, I mean, just bad. They've gotten better, but damn. So, keep that, because that... I love that part of the movie, just seeing all the different masks, and it's different. It's different for the killer to have that. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm Jason and I got a mask, or I'm Michael Myers. I look completely fine. Michael Myers is probably like very good looking under there. We never know. We saw him like for 2 seconds, We know he gets his eyes fucked up, but now, he's in his mid to late 60s, so
so if they redid it now, the movies, like you said, it'd be, instead of being from the 50s or 60s, they'd be from the 80s or 90s. Do it from the 80s, and you could even have them be doing it with slasher movies, and they could be doing some gimmicks, because Friday the 13th did a 3D one, so they could do something that was similar to Friday the 13th and make fun of that, and have like the harpoon coming out of the screen or something like that.
And it's very meta. Tricks. You have the movie within the movie, and then you can have someone else, and that would be cool too, if like the person kind of like I forget the name of those movies, but will you have a different director come in and just direct the segment, the 3 different movies?
Oh yeah. Well, in this one, this is what I was going to mention, like this movie, like they had asked Bob Clark apparently to actually direct it, the guy who did Black Christmas and all these things, and he said he didn't really want to do any more horror movies. So he recommended a friend of his named Alan Ornsby.
He's like, I already fucking created 1 classic. I don't need to do any more. Excuse me. I created 2 freaking Christmas classics, okay?
Yeah.
So, and I'm done.
So this Alan Ornsby came in, started on it, and I guess from what they said on the DVD, watching some of the commentary, he was very like detail oriented, to the point that no one was getting anything done. Because that Derek Rydell talks about, he said, he told me that in one scene, you're going to come in, you're going to take 3 steps forward, you're going to turn and look at something on the wall for 7 seconds, then you're going to walk 4 more steps forward and turn to the left and look this way for 8 seconds. And the guy was like, oh God, this is going to be a long movie if this is how we're going to do it. And so they replaced him with someone else, and the Alan Ornsby ended up directing all of the movies within the movie. So he ended up doing all of those because he was primarily an effects guy. And he did all those, crazy effects with the giant mosquito and all that kind of stuff. What ended up being him. And Bob Clark still ended up working on the movie, helping out with the makeup effects and everything, which is crazy that you had him just working in the makeup department on this.
Friends.
Yeah, helping out each other.
It's great. I love it.
And, like I said, I like this movie because it does appeal. Like, I never got to attend any of those, like, William Castle kind of screenings where they're electrifying the seats, flying skeletons over the audience or anything. And I always thought it would be cool to do that. So that's part of why I love this movie. And then, like, the effects, working at the theater and rehabbing it and making it into an all-night horror-thon, of course, that would be amazing. This thing is like, you know, horror fans' dreams. You want to work at the theater, you want to rehab it, you want to run horror movies, you want to decorate the place with these amazing props, you want to do all that. It's, like I said, it's just a horror fan dream in this movie. So for me, I'm going to give it 3 knives.
I'm going to give it 2 knives.
2 knives?
Yep.
Wow. The reggae music did that. Although there is one song in this that was written by the writer of the movie. That's the Scary Scary Movie song.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you need to look that one up. It's great.
So yeah, I give it 2 knives. I have no explanations why I'm giving it 2 knives. I'm giving it 2 bags of popcorn.
Okay.
That's a lot of popcorn. Especially now,
popcorn.
and especially now 1 bag is like the large, like the size of a baby.
Yeah, they're usually about 170 ounces now.
Wow.
It's a lot of popcorn.
It's a lot of popcorn. But yeah, I think that concludes our episode. Thank you so much, and stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.